Right, now I'm going to get the shapes of the railings so we can build them today. I don't want to build them on here. I'm going to build them separately and place them in because I want to make some short form content where, you know, maybe I snap my fingers and they're placed in. I actually ended up making that short. If you saw it, let me know in the comments. Part 1 covered the main structure. This one's all about the details. Guardrails, window mullions, window frames, door jambs. Is that right? No, it's not bad. I'm going to draw this in with the ruler and see if that works. I'm getting the sizes of the guardrails so I can build them separately and just place them in here. Oh, and then I need to get the edges of the door because those are going to be aligned with parts of the railing. Having continuity of different elements tends to give coherence to a design, so I'm denoting the edges of the sliding glass door as they will inform the locations of the vertical subdivisions of the guardrail. Yeah, it's quite accurate. No, I don't want a piece here. Maybe. I'm not sure what this means. So I have a drawing of the shape of the guardrail, but it's time to make it out of basswood strips now. All right. Okay. Let's make them. These are machinist blocks. I sometimes use them to keep things in place while they're drawing, but they're also useful for checking for squareness and checking if things are parallel. Part of what I built out of the basswood got stuck to the paper reference I had underneath it because the glue transferred over. So the second time around, I'm going to keep the paper reference above it and use the grid lines that I have in my cutting mat, which are very useful. The cutting mat grid lines also really help check if things are parallel. And if some glue gets stuck to it, it's easier to pull the object off than it is with paper if glue gets stuck to the paper. So since I've learned my lesson, I'm building the basswood version off to the side using the grid lines as a reference rather than building it right on top of the paper. So this is the outline of the guardrail, and now let's build the infill using the basswood strips as both spacers and cables. for the second piece of guardrail. This is a trick I highly recommend. Use the same strip of basswood as the spacer and as the infill, and it creates for a really nice, well-constructed assembly of posts and rails. The smaller rail also has a window aligned with it that has a central subdivision, so I'm also going to place that in to create more continuities. Alright, let's see how it fits.
That fit in there nicely.
This is nice. Oh, I didn't see if the verticals of this railing aligned with what I wanted them to align with. Alright. The horizontals stuck out a little bit past the edges, so I trimmed them out because the overall shape that I had actually was quite accurate. I just had to trim off the excess and it sat on there pretty nicely. Then I cut out the garage door using my handy dandy Olfa knife, which has blades that can be placed in and then snapped off whenever they get dull. And then when you snap through all of them, take out that blade and then put in a new one. This project is actually face-like, and I designed it before I started the podcast with Nico Salingaro, San Sussman, and Nearburst. This other elevation has a face too. Now the guardrails are done. Next step, you guessed it, the window frames, the mullions, and the door jambs. I took out the second floor to place the mullion there because it was a little hard to reach through everything. Thankfully, I hadn't glued it all together yet. And we're using the same basswood strips, the same tacky glue, which has a white color to it when you put it on, but it dries clear, so that's nice. And the same Olfa knife and the same cutting mat. I also have a larger cutting mat for bigger things, but for these small delicate pieces, that one will do. In part one, you saw the larger cutting mat when I was cutting out the floors and the elevations. I try not to use too much glue. It's amazing how much just a little bit of this thing allows the materials to adhere to each other. This is a 3-panel sliding window, or a triple slider window, or a tri-sash glider. Rule number 1 of being an architect is have multiple different names for everything. Just like in hip hop, you have the RZA from the Wu-Tang, but he's not just the RZA. He's the RZA, he's Bobby Digital, he's Prince Rakeem, he's the Resurrector, he's the Zigzag Zig. So the project has a door here to lead you out of the garage if you don't want to walk through that main garage door. So I'm building in that frame and then also giving it a little door handle. Here, so I added a little piece of basswood to the bottom of that guardrail on the right, and it's gonna dry clear, so that glue's not gonna be visible. I'm placing it on there gently because it's not fully glued yet. But yeah, it's on there pretty nicely now. We got our mullions, our window frames, our door jambs. It's looking pretty good. It's a garage door. This piece went on a little slanted. I'm gonna add one more on top. I did the same up here too, and I'm kind of liking it. The frames are getting thicker, which Nikos Salingaros argues for. He argues that a thicker window frame is better than a super thin one. And there you have it, it's pretty much done. All that's missing is there are a couple skylights up there. Maybe I'll get to it someday, but for now, I've got other fish to fry. 1/4 inch equals a foot is the scale, and we'll catch you next time. Until then, peace, love, positivity. Take care. And I finally got to throw away all this double wall corrugated cardboard I was holding on to that I used for the floors, as you can see. If I make another model, I will get more material, but gotta clear out my space now.